Fibonacci ratios, and they've got the frequencies. They actually go along the frequencies of if you have when the hammer hits the wire, it creates a certain frequency, and each frequency is organized to a tone. I think A is 440 beats per second. But there's some major points here. One is the octave. An octave is a span of 8 notes. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, 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 do. Same note, one octave above the other. Then you've got a fifth. Dee, bob, that's the fifth. You've got a third. Okay, now, let me have a little fun with you now. Yes, okay. Now, I called Brother Kaba yesterday. And I called Brother Kaba because Brother Kaba knows about everything. There was a commercial several years ago about some kids who wanted to eat a brand new cereal. And they said, we'll feed it to Mikey, because Mikey eat anything. Mikey eat everything. Well, Brother Kaba knows everything. So I called Brother Kaba yesterday. What did I ask you, Brother Kaba?
You asked me about the movie had I seen the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind?
Okay. How many folks here have seen the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind? Okay. Tell us about the movie first.
I had, as I told you yesterday, I hadn't really seen much of it, but basically the premise is that for the first time, man had come in contact with extraterrestrials, and they were trying to figure out a way to communicate with them, and the way that they found that they could communicate with them was through music.
Okay, very good. Through music. We must start by saying that everything is everything. Now, music is frequencies. Frequency is the universal. So if I wanted to communicate with folks some other part of the universe, one of the most logical things to do would be to send out musical tones. Okay? Now, what pattern do you think those musical tones would fit? The Fibonacci series. Why would you send out tones that fit the Fibonacci series?
The series of numbers fit everything. We just saw examples in the plants. It's universal.
So they would understand that.
Yes.
Okay. They might not talk French, might not understand Pig Latin, but since everything is related to phi and the Fibonacci numbers, wherever they are in the universe, if they have any level of intelligence, they should be able to recognize the pattern of numbers or vibrations coming to them as coming from somebody who's also intelligent enough to recognize how the universe is organized, right? Now, Brother Kaba, are you a musician?
Somewhat, yeah.
How are you involved in music?
I sing for the most part.
Okay, how long have you sung?
Ever since I was, his age, I guess. I also did play the piano, though, coming up, yeah.
I asked Brother Kaba yesterday if he remembered that movie. He said yes. I asked him to sing the tones he remembers. Sing them.
I think it was something like dun 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 dun.
You start with a tone, move up a full tone, move down a major third, drop down an octave, move up a perfect fifth. Start here, 0, 1, 3, 8, 5. I'll come back to some of this in a second. Those are the tones there. I'll start with the G. Sorry. When the ship finally lands on the earth, they play the exact same pattern. However, they start with B flat. My flat sign didn't come out there. Now, that movie was made in 1977. Those famous 5 notes, G, A, F, F, lower F, and C. The music is very important in this movie. It's pretty much a major character in itself. Despite this and the all-pervading 5 notes piece, there isn't that much music in the film compared to most others. Scenes where UFOs appear rely on natural sounds a lot, crickets, etc., which will suddenly go quiet just before the UFOs appear. The score for Close Encounters is by John Williams, favorite for his collaboration with Michael Spielberg. Williams went through over 300 different pieces before settling on the final 5-note piece. Because it ends on an up note, the piece is unresolved, curious, a question without an answer, a half-finished sentence. They didn't want to create something that could be used as a jingle. It had to be unique, special. You could argue that they failed, as it is probably one of the most recognizable pieces of music ever created. Williams says, at one point we called a mathematician friend of Stevens, and we asked him how many 5-note combinations exist within the 12 chromatic scale notes, given no rhythmic variation at all. And he called back and told us, I've worked it out. It's about 134,000 odd combinations. Well, we got as far as 350, so we thought we better stop and pick one of those. So we did that. The 5-note greeting is now part of the popular culture. In Moonraker, it was the tune the musical keypad played when the correct code was entered. I've also heard it's part of the smorgasbord of stuff we sent out into space as a greeting to whatever is out there, but it may just be wishful thinking. Start with a tone, up a full tone, down a perfect third, down a perfect third, drop an octave, back up a perfect fifth. Again, Williams might not have understood it. The mathematician who figured out the patterns may not have understood it. But again, it fits the Fibonacci pattern. 1, 2, 3, 8, 5. Follow that? Population growth also is related to Fibonacci series. As you remember.
Before you go on with
yes,
that,
sir.
they actually have this.
Right.
This
That's all right.
There's also this group that's actually they spell out the name SETI, which is SETI, and of course we know SETI after SETI the first, I believe, who was where in whose tomb where the first creation story is found, and I believe it's an acronym for Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. It may be something else, but I think that's what it is. And they actually every day they emit signals out there in outer space looking for extraterrestrials. And one of the things that, and I have it on DVD, one of the documentaries, and that is actually one of the tones that they sent out there.
And while I don't know what the other patterns are, I would suspect they're all also phi patterns, just a different arrangement of the notes.
Does African drumming, of course, does it fit in line with the Fibonacci thing as well?
I don't know, but here's where it becomes important for us to begin investigating things ourselves. Because when I started this out, it's taken me almost 2 weeks to do this presentation, put it together. I started with a couple of drawings, a couple of ideas. As I sat down and thought about it, as I put my mind in the right place, more and more things started, coming to my mind. What about this? Check on the, beep, 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 kept running my mind. Check that out. See what, I wasn't surprised when I found it fits the pattern. It very well could be that either the drumming itself or patterns of the drumming or whatever very well could fit the Fibonacci series. The point is that somebody like us would have to determine that because other folks are not even aware of the pattern. And the last place they would look is something relating to us. There may be things we've done that fit the pattern much more closely than anybody else. Population growth, of course, is based upon the Fibonacci series. This is the little schematic here. You can't read all that well. But what it shows is that it's got a number of cities and whose population pattern falls into the series, and they've gone back a number of years later and checked the growth in the population, and the population has increased, of course, in every city, but it's still in the exact same proportion. Failing any special activity in that area, such as the opening of a brand new, plant or whatever, in that area. The stock market price, if you plot stock market prices, they follow the Fibonacci pattern. And some folks use that, of course, to predict what they're going to buy and sell. The Ark of the Covenant is a golden triangle. When you go to the Bible, the proportions in cubits, it's the exact same pattern as the golden triangle. The beast is regarded as the Antichrist, and I'm not going into this very deeply because I don't fully understand it. But what they're saying here is that if you take a certain negative aspect of phi, it works out to 666. We're not quite sure why folks have said 666 is the bad number, but it probably comes out of something that the ancients understood about negative vibrations, and they equated to 666. This is something else I saw. If zero, sorry, I usually wear the body mics on this one. If zero represents nothingness and one the unity of God, then phi is actually the superimposition of God over nothingness, or the expansion of nothingness into form. The message of all scripture, from scripture of all major monotheistic religions, is that God is one, who created the universe from nothing, splitting nothingness into offsetting forces and elements. Today we understand the universe to consist of positive and negative atomic and subatomic particles and charges, matter and antimatter, all coming from a singularity which we term the Big Bang. Curiously, the mathematical constant 1.618 that is found throughout creation is represented by the symbol phi, which is the symbol 0 for nothing, split in two by the symbol 1 for unity. Some things we do are deeper than our understanding of why we did them.
Could you go back for 1 minute?
Sure.
Would the way we speak and walk be of the same related formula?
I don't know. That would probably take somebody trained either in physiology or linguistics to determine that. But what this does say to us is that now that we are aware that there is this constant, this relationship between major parts of creation across disciplines, we can now begin looking to see if we recognize the places we've not recognized before. 2 weeks ago, I did not recognize that there was a reason why those 5 notes from the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind always stuck with me. And why it seemed so right the first time I heard it. Now I know why it is. Because it's a pattern that I was not aware of last year existed. Now I can begin looking at other things. Everything will not fit, but there are probably a wide variety of things that I can recognize now as fitting once I know what to look for.
It might be possible that everything can fit, but we just don't know how to make everything fit.
It's possible too. The only thing that makes me mad about this is that I found out about this.
Angry, not mad, angry.
Well, okay, angry. I'm mad. Only thing that makes me angry about this is that I'm 61 years old. If I'd known this when I was 25 years old, I would have had more time to observe. It's important that you understand this, and that in very subtle, simple ways, you begin to pass this on to those around you, particularly those young around you, and that you find very simple ways of having them understand that mathematics, algebra, whatever else we need to use as tools to open these various areas of understanding, that those things are not impossible to understand. One or two of you probably didn't raise your hand when I asked you, you were still with me, but if you took a little time and looked at those functions and whatnot, you'd realize that they were not as hard as folks represented them to be. Folks told you they were hard because in many cases they didn't want you to study it. In this society, kids are told repeatedly in elementary school, through the end of grade school into junior high school, that you'll get algebra down the road.
Oh, yeah.
You know, this proof comes from here, boys and girls. So you learn about that when you get to high school. Well, I've taught algebra to first and second grade students. It's very, very simple. You just say 2 apples plus 3 apples is 5 apples. Then you say, boys and girls, we're going to use mathematical shorthand. 2A plus 3A is 5A. They have no problem with that. They don't have to wait till junior high school to learn what they can learn in second grade. If you follow that procedure, then there was a school out in California, I'm not sure if it's still operating, it was on Florida People years ago, where they had 8 and 9-year-old kids doing differential equations.
That was Jaime Escalante.
No, it wasn't with him. There was a black guy who was in charge of the school out there in California.
Marcus School. Marcus Garvey.
That may be the one out there in California. Listowel Middleton portrayed him in one of his programs. And I was just amazed watching an 8-year-old kid doing differential equations. I had taught myself it was hard to do. Then I went back and took another look at it and realized it wasn't as hard as I thought it was. Together. But needless to say, there are religious connections with the character of Jesus, with Noah's Ark, fits the golden rectangular proportions, the character of Jesus as described in the Bible, being the Word and whatnot. All those things can be shown to have a relationship with phi, with PHI. People write poetry according to Fibonacci numbers. 1 line, 1 word, 2 syllables, 3 syllables, 5 syllables, 7 syllables, and going down to 34 syllables and back up. Now, pi is the other constant. Pi comes out of understanding the diameter and circumference of a circle. First constant is phi, phi. This one is pi, pi. Pi is the area, is used to calculate the area of a circle, where a circle is represented as pi times r, r being the radius squared. Area of a circle is pi r squared. Circumference is pi times the diameter, where the diameter is 2r, or from one side to the other side, 2 r's to a d. All these formulas for volume and circumference and whatnot that involve solid figures all involve the constant pi.
Pi, when you say pi and psi.
Pi and phi, phi and pi.
Okay.
That's important. The stelas on the walls of the temples in Egypt can be broken down into golden sections, into sections that represent golden sections. Here's the pyramid. In the pyramid, when you look at the base versus the height, it breaks right down to pi. Now, I'll read this. Having said all that, now we look at the pyramids today, we can look at the pyramids with a brand new appreciation of phi and pi and how they understood this thousands of years ago. Most of you found out about it today. Most folk don't know about it yet. The pyramids are aligned to true north. The Great Pyramid is the most accurately aligned structure in existence and faces true north with only a 3/60th of a degree error. The position of the North Pole moves over time, and the pyramid was exactly aligned at one time. The pyramid stands at the center of landmass on the planet. The tropical year is embedded in the pyramid, or the calendar year. when you measure the various parts, for instance, the length of the base side is 9,131 pyramid inches, measured at the mean socket level, or 365.4 pyramid cubits, which is the number of days in the year. So the number of cubits in the base of the pyramid equals the number of years in the days in the year. The tropical year been measured the same way. The sidereal year, which is a little bit different way of measuring things, a little different than the 365. It's 365.256 rather than being 365.24. The mean distance to the sun, half the length of the diagonal of the base times 10 to the 6th is the average distance to the sun. The mean distance to the sun, the mean distance to the moon, the Earth's polar radius, the radius of the Earth, the curvature of the face of the pyramid are not flat. There's a curvature in each face. And that curvature, designed to the face of the pyramid, exactly matches the radius of the Earth. Okay. The equatorial circumference of the Earth, the space around, is embodied in the scale. The perimeter of the base is 1/43,200th of the actual distance around the Earth, and comes within 170 miles of the equatorial circumference. 6,000 years ago, this was done. Earth's volume and Earth mass are all encoded in the pyramid. The pyramid is a symbolic, mathematical understanding of the universe. The speed of the Earth around the sun can be equated from the pyramid.